People have been asking me about Jake. As you know, he's quite sick. People keep saying, well, is he all right now? Well, let me just say that he's not going to be all right for some time. He has hepatic lipidosis or fatty liver, and in a cat, that's a very serious condition. It's not a permanent condition, we hope. It can be reversed, and the treatment is actually just feeding him. They call it aggressive feeding, and that's what we're doing here. We are using the recovery food by Royal Canin and adding a little water to it and filling these syringes and feeding him through a tube. Um, they're a little bit difficult once they have been used a few times. The seals get very dry and stick, so that's why I'm putting a little oil on it there. But I fill at least 6 syringes every day, and we try to get all of that in him. Our problem has been that he has been vomiting a lot of his food back up, but we have now 2 different nausea medications, and between the 2 of them, they seem to be working. He's doing better. He's more alert. He's moving around more affectionate again, and wants to see what everyone's doing. So he is getting some better, but it will be a very long time, probably weeks at least, before he is really better. Now, this is, like I said, hopefully a temporary condition. The alternative is death, but we are doing our best to avoid that. You can see it's quite a task to get him already. This is his nausea medication. It has to be dissolved in water. A lot of times I will use the mortar and pestle, but on this particular medication, it just dissolves so easily. I just stick it in there, and of course that also goes in a syringe, and that goes in his feeding tube about 20 or 30 minutes before we feed him. Everything has to be flushed through the tube with a little bit of water when we're finished, so that it keeps the tube clean and free of any kind of debris. There's his good nausea medicine. Boy, our vet has been absolutely wonderful, and I'll just give him a little shout out here. It's the Animal Hospital of Paris, Texas, and he is Dr. Keith House, and we love him to pieces. Let's see, we are just about done here. All of his food is in the fridge, ready for the day, and we're just going to go and give him his medicine. There it is. I keep shaking it to make sure that it's a suspension, so all of the suspended particles have to go in, and zip, there it goes. A little bit of water, and he needs to just sit for a while. So what I do, let me see if that's where we are. Oh, here's his feeding tube. It goes through his neck into his esophagus. It does not go into his stomach, so we have to kind of prop him up a little bit to feed him. And as I said, these tubes, the rubber seal gets very dry after a few uses, and I have to use a little bit of oil, but this one was still sticking in the syringe. So David came and rescued us, and he's giving the food. And actually, this is sped up about 4 times. So it takes about, probably 5 minutes to give him a 60 milliliter tube of food. And once he's finished, he can't groom himself, obviously, because he can't really bend his neck much. So I have to do all of those things for him. I've got a little massaging brush here that he just loves. It's a, kind of a rubbery tip on one side, and on the other side is just little bumpies, rubbery bumpies that do massage his skin. And we've got the fine-tooth comb to pull, food particles and other debris out of his coat. So we do all of that for him. There we go. Again, this is considerably sped up, so it takes quite a bit longer than this. But there he is, all calmed, and then I take a warm, wet washcloth, or damp, not really wet, and just wipe him off. He can't even clean his little toes, so he's real good about it. I have been amazed that he lets me do these things, but I wash his ears and his head, his mouth. His poor little mouth is so dry, but we can help him by just keeping it moist with the washcloth and wiping the food and other things, drool. He's been drooling because he's nauseated, but got to keep that cleaned up off of his face. And see him turning over there. He really enjoys actually his little bath in the morning. So he helps me out until he is done, and then he is done. But here he goes, getting his bath and getting all cleaned up.